Strolling down Gartness Lane between a couple rows of hedges. It's about 8. Just spent the night in the village of Dryman, and it's not very dry here. Had a good rain during the night, but I'm glad I missed it. I've got about 8 more miles of the West Highland Way. This lane is the West Highland Way. And then around Carbeth Lock, I switch over to the John Muir Way. And instead of going south, I'll be heading east. There's a pretty view. Let's have a look. I'll be going south and west of those mountains, and once I'm south of them, then I'll make a left, and then they'll be to the north of me as I make my way east. Pretty countryside. I was fortunate yesterday to be able to shed some weight. My original shoes that I came with, the Merrill Moab ventilators, which served me so well on the PCT, weren't the right call for here, because even though they're lightweight and they last for 1,200 miles, so that's great. But the thing is, they with all the mud and water I was just walking through, even though they're quick drying, they never dried out, because it was 10 hours of walking in water, so your feet get messed up like that day after day. So I switched to these other Merrill waterproof boots, and I'm using my Dirty Girl gaiters for the first time, hoping that'll slow down the little guys that jump in there. So I got rid of the shoes, and I brought a stabilizer for the camera, so that when I'm walking like this, the shot wouldn't be so jumpy. But it's heavy and bulky and in pieces, and it's just too awkward and too cumbersome to use for a single person. I had no place to put it but in my large pack. So I walked across the street, and they had these prefab boxes at the post office, and stuffed that stuck in there and mailed it back to myself. So I've got 3 or 4 pounds less weight. I'm glad to be done with. This is the other side. And I can see a lock way in the distance at the foot of those mountains. That's west of me. Apparently that used to be a quarry. I'm thrilled to be walking down this country lane in Scotland. Fortunate, I know, too. It's beautiful here. Everybody's been real friendly to me, so I'll take that. I've met a number of folks from the States as well. New Hampshire, Long Island, Seattle. I guess they've been all up north. I haven't met anybody from the south. I don't know if that means anything. This section coming up, this other trail, well, good morning. How are you? Here's a little guy. You okay? Just want to say hi, did you? Well, that's pretty cool. There's a car coming. I'm going to get over here and get out of the way. Okay? There's a car. There he comes. Vroom. These hedges are bigger than me. On both sides. Just going down the tunnel. It's not just hedge either, it's all kinds of bushes and ferns. This is the first time I've seen anything about the John Muir Way. It splits up every now and then, and this is like the bicycle path portion. So I'm still on the West Highland Way, but the bicycle path portion of the John Muir Way has joined us. So I'm on both. Well, I'm saying goodbye to the West Highland Way. It's heading down this lane in front of me to the left down to Milngavie, and meanwhile I'm going that's south, and I'm heading east up to towards Strathblane, and that's a couple miles away. So that's one trail down. This is where I came in. There's actually down a bit of a road section before this. So, kind of sad. I really enjoyed it. Very much. And now I'm on the John Muir Way 100%. And I'm heading east. Well, east-ish. We're all heading east, not this moment. Heading southeast. Just splitting off. One trail down. Beautiful. Started up at Fort William, then the Highlands. Started off with Beverly, Unfortunately, she had to bow out after a day. She's home and recuperating. I carried on. Slogged through a bunch of rain initially. Midges. But when it wasn't raining, just a lot of beautiful scenery. That iconic Highland scenery stuff. So I'm curious to see what this is going to be like. Not as mountainous. I think I'm just going through basically rural Scotland with a few towns mixed in. I am going through Edinburgh. I think it's the biggest city here. So that's definitely going through city. Now back on the West Highland Way, there was a section that was the largest uninhabited part of Britain, 50 square miles of nobody. Here, little houses everywhere, little villages every so often. And this is also similar to when I had that the trail is part of a old country lane. That's pretty. Series of mountains. I see some sheep. There's a village down below. The peaks are shrouded in low layer of stratocumulus. Beautiful. I can hear dogs and chickens, cars down there. Up here I hear all the birds. It's very peaceful. There's a feed bucket for Lottie. I passed a few horses, so I'm going to guess that's who that was. Looking down on, I believe, Strathblane, or Blainfield, which is a little bit west of it. Well, I'm saying goodbye to my guidebook for the West Highland Way. Served me well. Lots of great details. I tore out the pages as I moved along to save weight. But I don't need any more, and I'm carrying 3 guidebooks for 3 trails. So whatever weight I can get rid of is good. So I'm going to toss him in the rubbish. And now I've got the John Muir Way guidebook. I'm not as crazy about it as this one. I'll see how useful it is, though. Probably I may have to rely on the GPS more than I'm used to. But anyways, farewell, friend. You did good. Up here. Okay. I'm going to be joining the Strathkelvin Railway Path. That's me, and then taking that east. Nice to be in Scotland. I'm in Kirkintilloch, which is about 8 miles east on the John Muir Way. I did the last 8 miles of the West Highland Way. That's out that direction. And to the north here are these mountains, mountain range. And I'll be walking that direction, east, generally in the direction of Edinburgh, and eventually on to either North Berwick or Durham. Today's a beautiful day, but I'm taking the day off because my feet need a rest, and I am being careful to not get a stress injury too, to you know, shin splints or tendonitis, any of that stuff. I've not even been hiking 2 weeks yet, so this is the prime time for that kind of stuff to hit. But it's just been, when it's not raining, it's been so beautiful here. Scotland's great. I've walked around town just a little bit, not a whole lot, since the idea is to give my feet some rest. Had to buy some cheapo flip-flops, so I guess those are my camp shoes. I've mailed back my Merrill Moab ventilators. So today, just walking around, just seeing the houses, the buildings, listening to the people talk. I've had some great conversations along the way as I'm hiking. There's one gentleman out in front of his estate, is about the only way to put it. He had a huge house and buildings, and then a yard, and then there was a field that was mowed to be a golf course with a hole, and he was out there practicing, and he told me he'd been to the Masters tournament in Augusta, Georgia, and he enjoyed that once, and he had a match later on today, so we were chatting each other up as I was walking down the road a couple days ago. And I've met some other good folks, and that's one of the highlights, is just meeting other people. And I'm doing pretty well in the Scottish. I didn't know how I'd do with that, but I get enough that I understand what they're saying. And I've not run into too many people who have such a thick accent that I don't get it at all. Yeah, everybody does a good job of enunciating. Here's the park, just sitting up on this hill overlooking the valley. Sun, what a rare thing. Blue skies. It's a pretty day, I'll take it. Hopefully I could have a couple more strung together. I noticed in the weather patterns that northwestern portion where I started up towards Fort William and Kinlochleven, in that area where they get more rain than the rest of the country, and they're still getting it now. So maybe it's just a regional thing for there to be so much rain. I'm hoping that the rest of Scotland's like this, especially as I head east to the east coast.